When you start looking for a place to live in Japan, there are two words you will see everywhere: apartment and mansion. At that moment, a lot of people stop and think, what exactly is the difference? Are these really different types of buildings? Some people casually assume that it's just a matter of preference. Many people sign a rental contract without fully understanding what they're choosing. That's when you hear comments like, I didn't expect to hear my neighbor's phone conversations this clearly. Or, the rent was cheap, but the room is freezing in winter and unbearably hot in summer. In most cases, these problems are not bad luck. They are the result of not knowing the structural differences between apartments and mansions. So, today, we're going to clearly explain the difference between apartments and mansions in Japanese rental housing. By the end of this video, you should be able to confidently say, yes, this type of housing fits me better. So first, let's answer the basic question. What is the actual difference between an apartment and a mansion in Japan? Here's something that surprises many people, even those who have lived in Japan for a while. There is no clear legal definition. In Japanese law, there is no rule that says, buildings like this are apartments, or buildings like that must be called mansions. In reality, the naming depends on real estate companies, property developers, and listing websites. In most cases, the company that built the building, or the agent renting it out, simply decides the name. They might think, this building sounds better as a mansion, or this feels more like an apartment. That's why the exact same building can be listed as an apartment on one website and a mansion on another. This kind of inconsistency is not rare. It's actually quite normal in Japan. This leads to an important rule for apartment hunting. Never judge a property based on the name alone. What matters most is not the name, but how the building is actually constructed. Now, here is another major point of confusion, especially for English speakers. When you hear the word mansion in English, you probably imagine a luxury home, a huge private estate, a big garden, maybe a swimming pool, and dozens of rooms, something you'd see in a movie, owned by a celebrity. But in Japan, mansion does not mean a luxury house. It simply refers to a multi-unit residential building made of reinforced concrete. That's why tall residential buildings with 10, 15, or even 20 floors are commonly called mansions. Some are high-end, but many are very ordinary and affordable. The word apartment is also different from how it's used in English. In English, apartment is a broad term that covers almost all multi-unit housing. In Japanese, however, apartment usually refers to low-rise buildings. This unique Japanese usage is one of the biggest reasons foreigners feel confused. To simplify things, the difference usually comes down to building structure. Apartments are typically wooden or light steel frame buildings, usually 2 or 3 stories tall. Wooden construction uses timber, while light steel structures use thin metal frames. These materials are cheaper and quicker to build with, which helps keep rent lower. Mansions, on the other hand, are usually reinforced concrete or steel-reinforced concrete buildings. These are often referred to as RC or SRC structures. Concrete combined with steel makes the building heavy, strong, and durable. This difference in structure affects everything: how noise travels, how cold it feels in winter, and how safe the building feels during earthquakes. Concrete-filled walls block sound far better than wood or thin boards. That's why mansions generally offer better soundproofing and stability. Now let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of each. For apartment, the biggest advantage is cost. Apartments are generally cheaper to rent, even in the same neighborhood. With similar size and distance from the station, apartments often cost noticeably less than mansions. For example, near the same station, a mansion might cost 80,000 yen per month, while an apartment might cost around 60,000 yen. That 20,000 yen difference adds up to 240,000 yen in 1 year. Initial costs are also often lower, since deposits key money, and agent fees are based on rent. Apartments tend to be easier to move into. For people who want to minimize expenses, apartments are a very practical choice. They're especially popular with students, young professionals, and people planning short-term stays. If your mindset is, I just need a place to sleep, or I want to save as much money as possible, then an apartment can be a smart option. However, there are downsides. One is security. Many apartments do not have auto-lock entrances. Anyone can walk up to your front door. For first-floor rooms, balconies may be visible from outside, so extra caution is necessary. Another downside is sound. Wooden and light steel buildings allow noise to travel more easily. You might hear footsteps from above or voices from next door. Things like faintly hearing your neighbor talking on the phone, or the heavy thumping sound of footsteps from the person living upstairs, are common complaints when it comes to apartments. If you're sensitive to noise, checking wall thickness and surroundings during the viewing is essential. Try lightly tapping on the wall and listen to the sound. Does it feel hollow and light, or does it sound solid and dense? Also, check whether the sound of people going up and down the stairs echoes into the room. These small detailed checks can make a big difference and help reduce stress after you move in. Now let's move on to mansions. The biggest advantage is peace of mind. Reinforced concrete buildings are highly resistant to earthquakes and fires. In Japan, this sense of safety is extremely important. Many mansions also offer strong security features such as auto-lock entrances, security cameras. This creates a double-layered security system that keeps unwanted visitors out. This makes mansions ideal for people who work from home, study a lot, or simply value quiet time. Many apartment buildings are equipped with parcel lockers, so you can receive deliveries even when you're not at home. For busy people today, this is a convenience that's just as important as security. Sound insulation is also generally better, so noise from upstairs, downstairs, or neighboring units is less likely to bother you. Thick concrete walls help block sound, making it easier to protect your privacy. For people who believe that home isn't just a place to sleep, but a place to create, or for those who work remotely a lot, living in an apartment can significantly boost overall performance. The main downside is cost. Rent, management fees, and overall monthly expenses are higher. Apartment buildings require ongoing costs to maintain the entire property, such as elevator inspection fees, entrance cleaning, and staff salaries for the building manager. Those costs are added to your monthly rent as maintenance fees or common area fees. Because these fixed monthly expenses are higher, it's important to look at your overall living budget and keep a good balance in your daily life. So, which one should you choose? Apartments are ideal for people who want to keep rent low and focus their budget elsewhere. They suit practical people who don't mind a simpler living environment, people who don't worry too much about noise or security, people who like the feel of wooden buildings. In fact, wooden structures have good ventilation, which is a hidden benefit. They can be relatively comfortable even during Japan's hot and humid summers. Mansions are best for people who prioritize safety, quiet, and comfort. If security and soundproofing are non-negotiable for you, paying extra may be worth it. People who are sensitive to everyday noise and want good soundproofing, there is no single correct answer. Choose based on your budget, lifestyle, and priorities. What matters most is not what's typical in Japan, but how you want to live. On mooovin, you can search for apartments in Japan from anywhere in the world. We offer support in Japanese, English, Chinese, and Vietnamese. So be sure to check out our official website from the link in the description. If you thought this video was helpful or interesting, please subscribe and hit the like button. Well then, see you in the next video. I'm cheering with all my heart for your happy life in Japan. Bye bye.